Chelsea Football Club are in advanced talks to sign the RB Salzburg chief, Christoph Freund, and make him the new sporting director under the Todd Boehly revolution. These are the moves that Chelsea want to make, not just to create short-term success, but long-term sustainability. These are the methodologies, these are the approaches being undertaken by Todd B and his group that should have rival fans worrying. A team with a seemingly endless supply of money, a growing fan base, billionaire owners who are thinking about the long-term club plan. This is scary times for rivals, exciting times for Chelsea Football Club. We're going to delve into that and much, much more, and the possibility still that Paul Mitchell could be part of this revolution. We're also going to take a look at some of Jurgen Klopp's comments after last night and update you on Marcus Rashford that looks as though he's going to miss Man United's final game before the international break. Hit the like and the share button. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Let's go. The story's out there. The story's advancing, but Chelsea are in deep conversations with Christoph Freund of the RB Salzburg project. To give you an idea about this individual, he is the man that unearthed Haaland. He is the individual, one of the key individuals behind the RB global projects. Their ability to spot brilliant up-and-coming talent, create a very sustainable model. If you look at where RB as a collective group were 10 years ago and look at where they are now, they're in a fantastic position. Of course, they don't have the budgets and the infrastructure as such that the financial muscles, they've probably got a better infrastructure than most teams in Europe, but not the financial backing. This is scary times indeed. We had a comment that actually came in straight away that says, Terry, you keep saying Chelsea is scary. They are. And maybe not in the here and now, maybe not in this very moment, but it's these moves. And I've been imploring rivals to wake up. I've been imploring rivals to listen, but nobody seems to want to do it. They look at Todd Boehly as a bit of a yahoo. They look at Todd Boehly, oh my God, he wants to do a North versus South All-Stars game. What a fool. Oh my God, he's telling the media all these transfer deals. He's crazy. He isn't. He's a little bit unorthodox, but he's looking to build something special. Not only are Chelsea looking to bring in Christoph Freund, one of the top sporting directors in the world, they are also speaking about bringing in Paul Mitchell underneath him as a technical director. This is something that's in discussions now, is advancing now, and could happen. Then what you'll see Todd Boehly do is hand over the majority of the football operations, if not all of them, to the likes of Freund and Paul Mitchell and allow them to run the club, but of course, under the image of the Todd Boehly group. So we want star players. We want up-and-coming players for the future. We want a good quality brand of football. We want the manager to have absolute power over that dressing room as long as he is treating the players right, as long as the team are progressing or maintaining a certain level that we want to achieve. And this is scary times. And I'll tell you as to why it's scary. And I've been saying it for weeks. Roman Abramovich spent the money. Roman Abramovich bought world-class players and attracted some of the best managers in the world. And Chelsea created teams that were dangerous. But every time they hit a bump in the road, Roman Abramovich did rivals a favor by sacking that manager and bringing somebody new in. In the first half of Roman Abramovich's reign, they continued to win the major trophies and challenge on a regular basis because only Man United could compete with them financially. But since the new TV deal money, since the likes of Man City have got funds, football has changed. The way you operate needs to be better, slicker, and it needs to be more sustainable. That is what the Todd Boehly group are looking to bring in. It's been my biggest fear at Chelsea for a while. And Roman was talking about doing this himself before the sanctioning. We're going to back Tuchel, win, lose, or draw. That made me fearful. This does exactly the same thing. Imagine spending the same amount of money as Roman, but in a Bayern, Ajax, Dortmund, Liverpool-esque structure where the club's wants, needs, and desires go before everything else. Imagine Jurgen Klopp and his structure at Liverpool with the money that Chelsea are willing to spend. Now, I'm not suggesting Graham Potter is at the same level as Jurgen Klopp. No, I'm not doing that at all. Maybe Graham Potter in the long term isn't going to be the right guy. But to build a style of football, to get them progressing. Remember, under SFG, Klopp wasn't the first manager. It was Brendan Rodgers that built the foundations. Klopp then took it to another level. When Klopp leaves, things will remain the same in terms of operational. It's just whether they can bring in the right quality of manager. Now imagine FSG doing all that, but spending what Todd Boehly's willing to spend. Scary, scary times. Facts. Absolute facts. And the fact that they are looking at Paul Mitchell and Christoph Freund at the same time, this is huge news. This is huge, huge news indeed. Equally, Todd Boehly, we'll talk about the North-South divide thing in a bit. There's also talk about Todd Boehly offering $8 million a year to Luis Campos to join Chelsea with a £260 million budget to invest over the next 2 windows. That's January and the summer. Into rethinking the first team. This is according to Le Parisien. Now, there's a number of Premier League clubs that are also looking at Luis Campos, who only joined PSG this summer. However, his role at PSG started on the 10th of June, 2022. He's only kind of in there as a football advisor. He doesn't have a sort of a permanent director of football, sporting director type role. So the likes of Chelsea, I'm also going to talk about it later today, the Jim Ratcliffes that are looking to ready a bid for Man United are looking at him as well. Christoph Freund is the leader of the pack. He is the main man that Chelsea Football Club want, but they're also working on other footballing directors at the same time because they understand that the world could change overnight. Christoph Freund, maybe his family say, no, we want to stay in Austria. We want to stay here. They decide not to move. That deal falls apart. But Chelsea are looking to make headway in this area, which is why judging them on some of the unorthodox approaches this summer, I said all along, is weird because they're not going to maintain that. They're not going to continue to do it. And I think there's a lot of rivals projecting. I think there is a lot of people that feel like me. Oh, I'm worried about what Chelsea are doing here, but they just don't want to admit it out loud. I don't know their rationale or reasons behind that, but they just don't want to admit it. Tad here says, man said scary times. It's football, Terry. Come on, fella. But I'm talking about scary in a football context. I mean, I'm not literally hiding under my bed, fearful of what Chelsea are doing, scared to go out like there's a giant spider living outside my front door. I haven't phoned the police and gone, look, I'm really fearful for my safety because of what Chelsea are doing. I'm talking about it from a rivalry point of view. I'm scared of how good Chelsea could become over the medium to long term with the way they're looking to operate. And this is why I'm saying to people, keep your eyes out for this. They're doing all the right things, doing all the right things that great clubs do, but they're going to have the money on top of it. They're going to have the money on top of it. The reason that Man City wins so much, of course, it's because they've got Pep Guardiola. But on top of that, they're so well run and they invest the money. And if you have a brilliant manager, if you're structured perfectly and you spend money, it's scary times. I'm sorry, it is. Terry, did you see Klopp's reaction to Todd Boehly saying about the All-Star game? Yeah, we're going to go through that a little bit later with you on the show this morning. By the way, make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace today. Freund, Mitchell, and Campos could all get signed by Chelsea this year. Seems like they could be a great recruitment team. I mean, maybe there's a possibility of all of them. Maybe there's a way of fitting them all into the system. You delegate certain roles. As long as you pay. Listen, by the way, they all might want to be the boss. But if you pay people, like, listen, I might be, I used to run the department of Barclays Bank, and I loved it. I was in charge. I'd worked towards this position of seniority. I had another organization come in. It was a less senior role, but double the money. Took it, got to feed the family. You turn around to Paul Mitchell and say, listen, you're going to be the technical director. What were you earning in your last job as sporting director? Oh, $3 million a year. Look, we'll give you $6 million a year. He's going to take the money. He's going to take the money and work with good people. And if they end up with a team like that running their football club, as far as I'm concerned, if you are not fearful of that, you're lying to yourself. You're a liar. You're an absolute liar. And I know people say, well, we've got to see what happens. Let's wait and see. Yeah, let's wait and see. But is it really going to foul? I don't think so, personally. I don't really think so. Chelsea Football Club are also looking to buy a club in Portugal. They're looking to create a network of clubs around the world in the same way Manchester City did. This is different. I told everyone the Roman era is over, but I don't mean Chelsea are dead. Doesn't mean Roman are dead. Todd doesn't know what he is doing. Just my opinion. In the long term, he will be like the other American owners, don't care and use it as an investment. Most people that own football clubs are using it as an investment. Most. When you have an investment group buy your football club, it's an investment. The good thing about the way the Todd Boehly group has bought the club is the only way they can make profit is by selling it in 10, 20, 30 years for a lot more money. If they run the club into the ground, they're not going to make their money back. It's different from the Glazers situation. They bought the club for £0, £0 of their own money. Even if the United halved in valuation tomorrow and they sold it, they're still going to walk away with £1.5, £2 billion profit. Todd Boehly's group can't do that because they bought the money essentially with cash. They bought it with their own money from their own investors. So for them to yield a profit, the club's got to be successful. The club's got to be sustainable. The club's got to be winning the major trophies. The valuation of the club has got to grow exponentially. So this look beyond, no disrespect to some of the journalists, no disrespect to some fans online. If you're going to follow the money trail, which is important, how do billionaires get their money back they've invested? By making more money. How do you make a club more valuable? You've got to keep winning. The only way the only way they could do what the Glazers have done is if they bought the club for £0, $0 of their own money, and it was all leveraged on debt. And then it doesn't matter if they only sell it for £2 million in the future. They pay the bit of debt off, and they make their profit. It's as simple as that. I don't think they're going to be at that in that way, my friend. I really, really don't. I love people calling Todd just here to make an investment. Look at how much they are spending for players and staff. Yeah, look, then it's not just an investment. They've put their own money in. Look how much of their own money they have already put into the football club. They want to grow the stadium. They want to buy clubs in other countries. Yes, they want to create a brand, and they want to create a football club that the valuation skyrockets. What is Chelsea's valuation right now? I haven't looked for a while. What's it? 3 billion. I'm going to guess 2.5, 3 billion. Chelsea's valuation as of right now, 2.39 billion, give or take, is the valuation of the club. If they buy these satellite clubs around the world, become more successful, keep growing the revenues, expand the stadium, buy more land, in 15 years' time, the club could be worth 4, 5 billion. Then when they sell it, them and their investors make their money. But they only get there by making the club successful. They only get there by making the club more valuable than they first bought it for. Now, that's only really going to happen if you maintain success. It is in this era, when you buy it with your own money. If they borrowed £2 billion from a bank and the club was paying it back, and they were just going to maintain the club until it was worth 3 or 4 billion and sell it and double their money, then people would have a point. But they don't. And Chelsea fans out there should be rubbing their hands at this, because I think Todd Boehly could make your club more sustainable. And over the next 20 years, I think you could win as many league titles, if not more, than you did under Roman Abramovich. I think you could double the amount of Champions Leagues that you've got. But you're now doing it in a more difficult era than Roman, because everybody has money in England. Everyone has money now. You get clubs that get promoted like Brentford that are suddenly getting 150, 200 million pounds a year of income through TV money. Go check out what those guys were turning over a year when they were in the Championship. This is different to 20 years ago. The world has changed financially for Premier League teams. This is scary times for rivals. Facts. I don't think Boehly wants to buy a club in Portugal. They just want to make a partnership and use that for. Yeah, I mean, there's satellite clubs. I've also read reports that he could be looking to buy clubs abroad or create feeder situations. Either way, they're looking to create a network out there. I think they might actually buy some football clubs abroad as well. The stadium is a major issue for Chelsea. It's one of the worst to watch a game at. Yeah, and they're looking to invest in that as well, I think. How long do you think they will keep mass spending if they don't win? Well, the thing is, will they spend record amounts like they did this summer? Maybe, maybe not. But these billionaire owners have got friends and they know a lot of businesses. They're going to get major sponsorship deals. The TV revenue money for Premier League clubs is going to keep growing. It won't be long until a streaming company like an Amazon buys the majority TV rights from the Premier League. And instead of 4.5, 5 billion over a 3-year period for the clubs, I believe it will become 6, 7, 8, 9 billion. So there'll be additional money coming into the game. The international TV deals, nearly every single renewal is for more money than the previous 3-year period. So the revenues are set to skyrocket and continue to grow. They truly, truly are. Expanding the stadium, if you get another 20,000 fans in per game, that is millions of pounds more of match day revenue on their way in. That may give you over the course of a season an extra 20, 30, 40 million pound of income. That helps you pay, just in terms of salary, for 1 or 2 more superstars to come into your team. There is a method here to what they're doing. And remember, spending the club's turnover isn't spending their money. They grow that turnover. They're spending what's coming in through revenue. The valuation is what the investors are trying to grow. They're not trying to take out money. Oh, they're going to take 5 million here and I'm going to take 100 grand little payment there. They're not going to do that. That's chicken feed to these people. They might want to triple the valuation of the club over a decade, then sell it. But to do that, the club has to be majorly successful. Facts. Agree, Todd Boehly is no joke and might be different to other American owners, but the common thread is arrogance of the culture of football, or should I say soccer. Let me just speak about this as well. And I want to speak about this because we've obviously seen the North versus South all-star game idea come out. Now, he spoke about it because obviously they made there's 200 million pounds made by the Major League Baseball All-Stars game this year. So he's kind of suggested it. And we obviously saw Jurgen Klopp kind of, to a degree, laugh at it. And I thought that was very disrespectful from Jurgen Klopp. And I'll tell you as to why. Because, Jurgen Klopp is one of the guys that will moan about this. There's too many fixtures. As you said, there's too many fixtures. We'll play that in a second for you. There's too many fixtures. There's too many games. My players can't handle it. It's not fair. But then we'll send it. But his club are happy to go on long, like globe-trotting pre-season tours or post-season tours. I've seen Liverpool do in the past. Why is this any different? But let's take a look at what Jurgen Klopp had to say.
Finds a date for that, you can call me. When he wants to call us, and he forgets that in the big sports in America, these players have 4-month breaks. So they're quite happy that they can do a little bit of sport in these breaks. It's completely different in football. Yeah, what can I say?
So a little bit dismissive. And he's right in that degree. It's different from the sports in America where they have bigger breaks. But if there's 200 million pounds to be earned in Major League Baseball, a Premier League All-Star game could generate 300, 400, 500 million pounds. You could probably, I guarantee you there'll be a Saudi prince or a sheikh somewhere in the Middle East who's a billionaire that says, I fancy putting that on. If it was worth 400 million and the money was divided between the clubs whose players were picked. So let's just say if you get one player picked for the All-Stars team, your club receives 20, 25, 30 million pounds for the game. Liverpool Football Club sign up to it. If Jurgen Klopp was offered 10 million pounds to be the manager of that team, Jurgen Klopp would sign up for it. This is why I wouldn't scoff at the idea. If there's money to be made, they could do it. Now, personally, I think it'd be brilliant. I think it would be amazing. 2 players from each team, for maximum from each team, a north-south divide. You have to work out where you draw the line for north-south divide, and you do it at the end of the season as like an end of the season thing. Now, for me, people will say things like, "No, you can't mess with the traditions of the game." Look, we added yellow cards in, we took back passing away. There's been lots of things added to games. We added golden goals, we took golden goals away. Some games used to have replays. Now they don't have replays. We've changed the quote unquote traditions of football many, many times before. We're happy to take on the Americanization of the way we run TV shows now around football. We're happy to take on the Americanization of the way we make the transfer window, like especially deadline day, like the draft day. We're happy to take on the Americanization by adding boxes into our stadiums. Boxes were an American thing. The English clubs took the ideas of boxes at stadiums from the Americans. The way we advertise, the way we market, the way we put brands on our shirts. These are all American ideas. So from my standpoint, people go, I don't want to Americanize our game. The game's already fucking Americanized, you morons. It's already Americanized. So what are you talking about? It's already been done. I'm not saying this will happen. I wouldn't be against it. Then now it's about, this would be a cool idea for me personally. However, all the clubs go, no, we want nothing to do with it. If you were offered the right amount of money, these men would jump in. Oh, we don't, the players play too many games, they're tired. And then some billionaire from Australia says, do you want to come and do a post-season tour for 10 million quid? Yeah, mate, we're on our way. Like, don't drop me out with this money nonsense. How is it Americanized? Were you not listening to what I just said? Were you not listening to what I just said? I just explained all the elements of football that have been Americanized. Boxes in stadiums. And we're talking commercial elements here. Advertising on shirts. The way that transfer deadline day has been sort of turned into our version of draft day. There's so many elements of football that have already been Americanized. There you have it, my friend. I know you were listening, AK, so I don't know why you're asking that question. They've been done. We've changed loads of traditions within the game before. FA Cup replays, gone. yellow cards added into games, back passing taken away, goalkeepers being allowed to wear gloves. You know, there's been so many traditions from the original. Like, how many times has the offside rule changed? There's been so many traditions changed. If you don't want the game, don't have it. But drop me out with your Americanization bullshit and drop me out with don't ruin the traditions of football. Yet you're happy. Why are you still watch? If you're unhappy with changing the way football's done, how can you be watching football now? It's been changed what 100 times, 200 times in the past 150 years. Drop me out with that nonsense. Drop me out with that nonsense. Drop me out with that nonsense. That's tweaking the rules, not the game. How's putting an all-star game in, which is essentially a friendly, how is that changing the game? It's not changing the season. It's not, oh, the all-star game decides who wins the Premier League. It's a friendly. It's a friendly. That's all it is. And it probably won't happen. But I'm seeing the way some people talk about, like, and trust me, you would all tune into it. That's the thing. You all sit there. Oh, terrible idea. Every single one of you watching would be watching it 110%. You'd be there. Does the Community Shield make hundreds of millions of pounds revenue? Why All-Star game will make that kind of money? An All-Star game, in my opinion, would make that kind of money. Maybe not forever, but I think it would generate so much interest year one. Imagine having a team, you know, 2 City players, 2 United players, 2 Liverpool players, a bit of Newcastle in there, a bit of Everton in there, and then you've got cut the Tottenham, cut the honestly, and then what you do is I don't know, the highest finishing manager of the northern teams and the highest finishing manager of the southern teams get to manage it. I think it's a cool idea. Will it happen? Probably not. But as I say, drop me out with this tradition nonsense because there's so many traditions that are taken away from football and no one seems to care. You know what I mean? Playing games at 3:00 on a Saturday. Oh my God. That's when all football used to be played. Where's that tradition? Why are you all watching football when that got changed? Liars. I don't like liars. Come on now. Stop bullshitting. As an American, I wouldn't mind it. But when my cousin from the UK says the fights between Man United and Liverpool fans sitting together would be crazy. Yeah and no. I mean, you get fans from all these clubs sit together during England games, and there isn't mass outbreaks of fighting. So yeah, I very much doubt it. I very much doubt it, my friend. Plus, it would probably, if something like this happened, it would probably be held in the Middle East. It would probably be held in America. It would probably be held in somewhere like that. And those kind of hooligans, most have criminal records, wouldn't be able to travel there anyway. So it wouldn't be too much of a problem, my friend. Everyone would watch it. Just look at how many people watch the Soccer Raid, which with overweight old players. Exactly, my friend. Exactly. I don't mind people saying I wouldn't watch it, but drop me out with this. I wouldn't watch it because it goes against the traditions of football. Whilst they're sitting down to watch Super Sunday at 4:00 or Monday. Like, you do realize there's been no Americanization of our game. What the hell is Monday Night Football then? Drop me out with your nonsense. Do your history of your own football club. Come on now. You're protesting against a Super League, which is a money-making machine. No, I didn't. I protested against a Super League because there was no jeopardy. My only issue with the Super League really was there was no jeopardy and nobody else could get into it and nobody could fall out of it. Not the money. I don't care about how much money they make. I'm pro-capitalism, generally speaking. So why would I care about how much money somebody makes? If you have a great idea that people are willing to pump money into, fair play to you. If you, my friend, create a business tomorrow and people are willing to give you billions of pounds a year for your products or services, I will shake your hand and say, congratulations, my friend. However, if you're screwing people over, I'm going to come for you. So for me, all I protest about the Super League was no jeopardy. You must have watched those videos if you're talking about my opinions, my friend. The Super League is Americanized, though, right? And I never had a problem with the concept of the Super League. It was the lack of jeopardy. So there we go. I'm not saying that every Americanized idea is right. I'm just saying, don't tell me that you don't want any Americanizations in the game, but yet you watch football with many Americanizations in it. That's all I'm saying, my friend. AK, you keep trying to get me here. You can't, bruv, because you know you're capping. So stop, AK. Stop and just tell the truth. Tell the truth. But there we go. I would watch it. It's more entertaining than the Community Shield. You all would say, what's the point of an e-community shield of the e-community shield, but tarnish the idea. Yeah, listen, it'd be more fun than a community shield. Everyone just calls a pointless friendly anyway. I get that. As a football fan, I love it, but I think it takes out rivalry. but I think it's gone already. Listen, Jurgen Klopp and Pep just hug each other. There's no rivalry anymore. You know, I'm sad Tuchel's gone to a degree because at least him and Conte were building a little rivalry. There's a little bit of spite. There was a little bit of needle. You need a little bit of that. You need a little bit of that in the game. But there we go. Let's have a little look here. I remember when they had an English 11 versus the rest of the world back in the 80s. So it wouldn't be impossible. Yeah, these things have been done before as well, as you say. Yeah, England, yeah, they have done these ideas in the past. And I think it'd work. Keep twerking for the Americans, Terry. Sad to see.
You do realize that YouTube and Google that you're using to watch me is American.
Man sitting there now like,
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Literally, you're using an American product to watch me. Like, this is someone asked me that question before. Do you hate America? And I'm like, no, I can't. I'm one of these people where if you use the products and services, you indulge in the culture, you watch the movies, you wear the clothes created by a certain place, to say I hate that place, but then you consume everything it's made, I just find weird. I find weird, you know, find it weird. It's a bit like, imagine someone goes, I don't like the rules and the laws in the Middle East. Where are you going on holiday? Oh, I'm going to Dubai. What? Like, it don't make any sense. Do you get where I'm coming from? So yeah, no, weird people. Morning, Terry. The FA Cup changed from Saturday 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. for revenue. Liverpool were bought for 300 million and in 12 years worth 3.5 billion. There we go, my friend. And you know what? I respect this opinion. Horrible idea. If you don't like the idea, just say it's a horrible idea. Drop me out of this tradition nonsense and drop me out of the Americanization nonsense. That's all I'm pushing back against. Saying it's a bad idea is absolutely fair and logical. Get Todd Boehly out of football. Get FSG out of football. Get the Cronkies out of football. Get the Glazers out of football. They own 4 of the biggest clubs. Get them all out. Joey, who do you support? I want to know who you support, Joey. I want to know who you support to be saying this. I need to know. I'm going to take some calls this morning. I want to know what you think and feel. Of course, we're talking about Christoph Freund in advanced talks with Chelsea to become the new sporting director. Paul Mitchell and Luis Campos are also on the list to get involved with the Chelsea Todd Boehly revolution as well. I want to hear from you on that. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. And, on the North versus South divide that Todd Boehly has suggested. What you saying, my friend? Not fraud, friend. It's German. It is. I assume he's German with a name like Christoph Freund. He could be Austrian, to be fair. Is he Austrian or German? I don't know if he's German or Austrian. Their names to me sound. Oh, he's Austrian. Well, he says citizenship Austrian. But in fairness, Austrian names and German names sound pretty similar to me. So yeah, there we go. Terry, no, I don't. The US games are different civilization and attitudes towards games are different. You cannot copy every US thing. I didn't say you could copy every US thing. Again, why are you going to that extreme? Where did I say we have to copy everything America does? Where? But we copy Monday Night Football. You're fine with that. We change the kickoff times to put more games on TV. You're fine with that. You buy your football club shirts with sponsors over them. You're fine with that. No one's saying do everything they do, but you're doing hundreds of things they do. Come on, my friend. I assume that you consume nothing other than 3 p.m. My friend, I want you to come back and comment. I assume you consume nothing but 3 p.m. kickoffs only. You ignore the rest, right? You don't buy the shirts, not the merch. You don't do any of that, no? Come on, my friend. They used to have cheerleaders at Crystal Palace's games not long ago. Not sure if they still do. Yeah, I think things like cheerleaders have more been... Lots of sports in England used to have cheerleaders, but I think they've kind of phased them out because of equality and stuff. I think. That's what I read somewhere. It's not fair. Todd Boehly wants to buy a football club in Portugal with Mendes. Yeah, they're going to do some business, man. They're going to do some serious things. There we go. Matt Law here has said that Chelsea have been holding talks to buy a club in Portugal. Todd Boehly met with Neil Bath and Jorge Mendes in Portugal in June, when it is believed the subject was discussed. They're doing things. They're doing things. They're doing things. Terry is gagging for US approval. No, I'm not gagging for anybody's approval. I'm a grown man. I don't need approval from anybody to do anything. I'm just speaking honestly. I don't, but when people say, I hate everything about America, man's got Levi jeans on, got an iPhone in his hand, uses Google. You know what I mean? It's like sitting there listening to Jay-Z with a pair of Beats earphones on his way to go and watch a brand new Hollywood movie. Drop me out. Drop me out. I can't take it anymore. I can't take the nonsense. If you truly hate America, I want you to consume nothing that country's ever invented. None of it. Get rid of all of it. None of it. I dare you to. I'd love people to actually make a statement and stand by it with their actions, instead of just whinging and moaning and virtue signaling all the time and doing nothing about it. Liars. Oh, it's popular to say you don't like America on Twitter. It gets you likes. That's the only reason you're saying it. Mugs. Anyway. It's like I had a friend of mine once said, I don't like nothing that this country's ever done about England. Well, you like football, didn't you? Yeah, I love that. Well, you like one thing then. He's also a fan of EastEnders. 2. He's got 2. We found 2. He works for the NHS. He loves that as well. We found 3. We got 3 things. I love it. I love people. People are my most favorite people. Stop getting triggered. I'm not triggered. I'm excitable, my friend. I'm excitable. You've done yourself today, AK. But I respect you, bro. You're here for a lot of streams. I'm only playing with you, and I know you know that. Terry, you can't compare the Premier League with the MLS or NBA or NFL. Those American sports are not recognizable globally. Exactly which is why there's much more money in an All-Stars game here. Like, imagine an All-Stars game in America making 200 million. An All-Star game for the Prem sold worldwide. Listen, this is why it could happen. Those clubs, if the clubs start talking to sponsors and they can make 3, 4, 5, 600 million, they'll do it. And those clubs and owners go, yeah, give me some of that. There we go. Boehly is a visionary genius. I'm so impressed, is what Charlie Costa has got to say here. And by the way, the NBA is pretty global, and the NFL is fairly global. I mean, it's big in England. I'm sure it's big in other countries. The NBA, like basketball's big in a lot of parts of the world. Like basketball's played to a high level in in Lithuania, as an example. I know for a fact that it's like massive there. It's big in Germany. I want to say it's big in Russia, but I don't know. Like basketball's pretty big, to be fair. That is pretty big. I swear there's a big Asian market for it as well. I mean, I literally think China have pumped in so much money to it because it was already popular, like in China. And I think there's a big Asian market anyway. But yeah, there we go. That's my thoughts. Right, I'm going to share the link for you, man, to call in and have your say. And ladies, there's very few ladies that watch the show, to be fair, but there are some that watch. If you want to call in, I'm putting the link in now. Make sure you're smashing like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Very, very important to us that you do that. It is indeed. But come on with something to say. Come with a proper point. Do you know what I mean? Come with a proper point today, my Terrace community. I also want to speak about a big decision that Klopp's got to make, and I'm calling for this. Jurgen Klopp, in my opinion, has got to drop Trent Alexander-Arnold. Will he do it? I don't know for who. That's to him to work out. But for me, Trent's got to be dropped. I want your opinions on that, my people. I want your opinions on that, my friends, on these matters. Since the time the Premier League teams knew we were being sold, we have had the Mickey taken out of us, the Mickey taken out for now going to ruin. And look at us now, forward-thinking owners, coach, and looking to expand. Come on, you Blues. But that's the thing, my friend. That's why rivals are annoying me with this Chelsea talk. They're ignoring all the good things that Chelsea are doing, all the plans that they've got. Just dead. It's projecting. It's projecting what they want to happen. And I think it's wrong, personally. And I think they're going to all end up with a lot of egg on their face. The UK plays against teams in Europe, etc. So easier for the NBA to play All-Star games. They also have a 2 to 3 week break for the All-Stars games. Yeah, do you know what, Matt? Like, listen, I don't logistically, time-wise, it's hard to fit in. But the idea in isolation, I think, is good. But they could scrap the Community Shield or they could just do it as an end of season game. And I think if the money's there, the clubs will do it. I think the clubs will do it. I really do. I really do. If the money's right, that's it. It comes down to money. If the money isn't there, the clubs will say no. But if every club that's involved could earn an extra £20 million, they'll do it. They'll do it. And I'm up for the evolution of the game. I'm up for new things being introduced to football. I always have been. But let's see how it goes. That's a good point there, though, my friend. Let's have a little look here at some more things people are saying. Britain have the biggest market. I wonder why. Because we already bought all the best players off countries and then killed them off. That's kind of weird. I don't know what you mean by that. Simple for Liverpool. Swap Elliott out for Trent and play Gomez at right back. Do people think Trent could be a midfielder? Do people think Trent Alexander-Arnold has a subtlety and the positional sense to be a midfield player? I think his biggest issue defensively is his positional situation. Would that be more exposed in midfield, Ethan? I'd love to get your take on that, my friend. Yeah, you're basically playing without a defender. Yeah, I kind of get you on that. I do get you on that. He goes into midfield when we play. Well, this is the thing. He spends a lot of his time in midfield. So what's the difference? I hear that. What's next, Terry? Playoffs and commercial breaks? There's already playoffs in football. How do you get into... There's a playoff every year to get from the Championship to the Premier League. There's now playoffs in Europe. When you drop down from the Champions League, you go into a playoff. I think if you finish second in your Europa League group, you go into a playoff against the teams coming down from the Champions League. There's already playoffs in football, my friend. What are you talking about? Bruv, you don't know the game. You're telling me you don't know football? Bruv! Oh, you done yourself. Sorry. Oh, sorry, bro. I'm sorry. And we have commercial breaks at halftime. You can't put commercial breaks in the rest of the game because there isn't the breaks in play. But trust me, if the game changed and there was bigger breaks in play in the game, they'd put commercial breaks in. They would. There we go. Terry, do you need a Southwest correspondent being made redundant? Don't worry, my membership is staying strong. Not really. We're not. We are looking to expand. We've got an announcement coming very, very soon with the Football Terrace, which I'm excited to bring to you. We've got to wait for the formal things to go through. So potentially, my friend, we will be expanding our workforce in the coming weeks and months. One game elimination to determine who the champion. Listen, yeah, I don't want playoffs like they do to win the NFL. I find that weird. But again, knockout football is a playoff. It already exists. We just call it something different. The Champions League is a league, right? It's a small league, and then you go into playoffs to win. It's just slightly different, but they already exist. Like we act like this stuff isn't. Oh no, we have no type of. There's no knockout system here to win a trophy. There's no knockout system to win a trophy in football. Wow. There we go. We're going to be talking about Jim Ratcliffe a little bit later on the show. I couldn't speak about it this morning. I've been talking to a journalist, and he has to release a story before I talk about it. But some very exciting times ahead in that space. Me old mate. Also, someone sent me a picture here. Tim, I don't know why it's not letting you send a super chat, my friend. I don't know where you're based. It says looks like US dollars. Maybe the country you're in, it's not allowing you to do it. You should use you really should use a VPN provider to help you there. Use NordVPN. I'll actually send you our link for NordVPN. You should be using that really. You might but change your location to another country. That sometimes helps. Let me just get you the right code for it, though, my friend. Bear with me 1 second. I'll get you our code, and then you can get a really good deal with Nord. Let me put that in the comment section. I'm gonna DM it to you, my bro. Actually, I'll put it in the live chat, and I'll put it into that as well. We've got more NordVPN shows coming soon for you, my people. They're coming. I've DM'd it back to you, Tim. Try download that and then just change it over and put it through, my friend. Let's see if that works. Thank you. Ego. I don't know what ego means. Vegan for life. Good luck. Was a joke. I was a joke. Oh, I was being nice, bro. I was being nice. I was being nice. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice. Terry, you need to change with the time. Terry, you need to change with the times. We cannot stay back in time. The world has moved on. You can find a wife online before you had to look out. Yeah, you can find a wife online. If that's your thing. Not everyone's thing, but you can do that. Some people do. Some people enjoy that kind of thing. Some people, that's their like, ooh, go shopping online for a lady. Let's have a little look here. Move Arnold to midfield is a good idea. Hey Terry, would you drop the Carling Cup or just have it one? Yeah, I mean, I'm not adverse for the European playing teams, so the teams in Europe for not being in the League Cup. I actually don't think that's a bad idea. So to free up some time, but I'd like to reshape UEFA a little bit. I don't like how diluted the Champions League is now. I would like the Champions League to go back to 4 groups. Nearly every team in those 4 groups is good, is of a high quality. You then make the Europa League a stronger tournament. So top 2 teams maximum from any league go into the Champions League, or maybe only the champions and the winners of the previous year and the winners of the Europa League, they go into the Champions League. The next group go into the Europa League, and then you have what they call the Conference League is the next group. That way you would have really good quality teams in each of these European competitions, spread the money out amongst all of them. And that way everybody's making money. It makes every game harder, every game more nail-biting, every game more appealing. And I think what you would end up doing is you would end up creating a much more exciting Champions League, a much more exciting Europa League, a much more exciting Conference League that everybody cares about. Go back 25, 30 years, the Cup Winners' Cup, the UEFA Cup, and the Champions League were all deemed big. They were all exciting. They were all worthwhile winning because the finances were there. That's what I would personally do. And that's how I'd rejig things. I think the Champions League now, you have group. I know, like Spurs getting beat last night was a shock. They got beat by a much smaller side in Sporting, and that shouldn't be happening. But as a general rule, there's so many whipping boys in the Champions League, it just becomes boring. These group stage games. There's no teams can lose their opening couple of group games, and you're like, yeah, but they'll win the next 2 or 3. They'll be okay. If the groups were full of really hard teams, it would feel different. So yeah, I'd like a little bit of that. To be fair, that's what I'd kind of like. If I was able to make these changes and influence it, that's what I would kind of look at myself, to be fair. Trent will be a good mid. Kimmich, Verratti have done it. They were fullbacks, is what Calvin has got to say here. People are having a go at Boehly for his ideas. He's come up with more ideas for raising money for football pyramid than anyone else. Well, what they'll do is they'll laugh at the ideas, but then they'll take them. And we see this in life. I remember proper big YouTubers telling me it's wrong and stupid to cover more than one team and it'll never work. I see all these guys doing it now. Some of them massive and they're brilliant and they've got amazing fan bases. But they were like, well, why are you going to talk about? Well, why would you talk about Chelsea? No one's going to care what you think. Well, I think some people will. Now they're all doing it. Like, that's the thing. If you come up with an idea, and this is a lesson for life, if you come up with an idea and lots of successful people scoff at it, don't drop it. Keep pushing. Because sometimes people go, stupid. So you drop the idea and then they pick up from behind your back and go and create the damn thing. Don't trust people in those circumstances. It happened to me. I'm not going to tell this story online. I've never told this story online, but I had an idea for a type of show. Was told by someone very powerful, no, it's never going to work. They went and developed the idea behind my back and launched it on their own channel. So I learned, I was like, whoa, I thought you were a friend. Not so much. So yeah, be very mindful of that. Be very mindful of that. Let's have a look at some more of these comments coming through. The make the Champions League smaller, that improves the quality of the Europa League. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And then you've just got to spread it out. Tim said he's already signed up with a VPN a couple of weeks ago, so I'll try and do it with the UK. Yeah, go and try it there, mate, see if it works. Sometimes it's weird. I might have to update your app. I don't know. It's sometimes very weird. Terry Hassan versus Terry in a boxing match. Who wins? I like Hassan. I wouldn't want to hurt him. Do you have small teams beating the bigger teams in the Champions League? That's fun to watch, and that's why I'm fine with the current setup. They beat them, but it doesn't always knock them out. And it's like Spurs losing last night. Spurs will still get through this group. because there's enough games against smaller teams left. One shock doesn't change things. If Spurs' group was, maybe you have Sporting Lisbon in the group, but if it was Spurs, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and Sporting Lisbon, losing to Sporting Lisbon would be very detrimental. But they've got Frankfurt and they've got Marseille that they should beat. And their 3 home games they'll probably win. So that's 9 points. That almost gets you out the group. Losing, that's why there wasn't like, oh my God, I'm in panic last night. You need to get the groups back to a stage where dropping a point, especially against the smaller side. The Man United in 99, it was Man United, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Bromby, right? So you're always going to get some small teams in there. You had to beat Bromby. To get out that group, if you dropped any points to Bromby, you were in trouble. You were in major, major trouble if you dropped points to Bromby. And it made those games kind of like scarier. And it made those games scarier because it was a simple situation of, damn, if we lose, if we drop points in this scenario, in this moment, like we're gonna be in trouble. And you kind of go back to you go back to that group, and like Bromby won a game. I can't remember who they beat that year. I want to say they beat Barcelona. I could be wrong. They either beat Barcelona. I want to say it was Barcelona they beat, but I could be wrong about that. I'd have to go back and I'd have to go back and check. But if it was, I'm actually gonna have to check now that I'm talking about it, right? Bromby. I don't even know if they play, and they obviously do play. Bromby versus Barcelona 99. I swear they beat Barcelona. Could be wrong. I could be wrong. No, they beat Barcelona. They won a game that year. They won a game that year. They beat someone. Let me just check. One of you might already remember. I love how the internet has all these things on here. Who they beat? No, they didn't beat. They couldn't have beaten them. No, they didn't beat Barca. They must have beaten Bayern Munich. Did they beat Bayern Munich? Yeah, they beat Bayern Munich. So I remember that. Yeah, that was it. They beat Bayern Munich, and that put a lot of pressure on Bayern Munich in their remaining games because they had to play Barcelona and Man United. So then when they actually won some of those other games, it made the jeopardy in the group better. That was it. I was just trying to remember what you're talking 20 plus years ago. I was trying to work out which one it was, but it created like panic in the group because Bromby were the team that Barca, Bayern, and Man United were all meant to get 6 points against, and then it was a shootout. But as soon as Bayern Munich lost, now it didn't stop Bayern Munich, but it made the games more exciting. So when they beat the other teams, it was like, oh, wow, that's massive. It made those moments absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. Man United slapped them, by the way. I think 6-2 or 5-0. There we go. There we go. Terry, are you talking about Turkish in the Big Six? No, I'm not. I'm not talking about that. I don't consider, like, obviously, we've been doing Rivals, chatting about football since about 2018. Our top 6 shows existed. I mean, Turkish was on our top 6 show in like August, September of 2020. So no, not him. He didn't start his show until months later. And obviously, what an amazing show the Big Six is. It kills it every time it goes out. It's an amazing bit of content. But no, I'm not. I'm talking about something that happened about 5-6 years ago. But yeah, I'm never going to name it. I'm not going to name the person because I don't want the beef. But yeah, I'm just making the point to you. Like, when people scoff at your ideas, don't let that deter you. OG's on with me now. What you saying, OG?
Yeah, I got my own idea, man. We'll do top 8 show. I'm gonna bring some Newcastle fans, some West Ham fans. No one's feeling it. We say that.
I'm good. Mate, what do you make of Todd Boehly's approaches here for the likes of Christian Freund, the Paul Mitchells of this world? It really looks like they're trying to build something sustainable.
Yeah, well, please stop saying scary because I know you're saying that, but if you say you're not scared, I guarantee we're going to do very well. Whenever you say you're scared, teams tend to drop below par. You got that little curse.
The Terry Judge.
The Terry Judge, yeah. But honestly, it's like either it's the greatest PR stunt in history, this whole thing, or he actually is serious about taking Chelsea for a nice long ride where we're going to have, the best prospects coming to us. And they'll have almost a Galactico side in the future, but none of their issues. But honestly, our league is so competitive. I mean, Man City made it look like it isn't, but our league is so competitive that I don't think all of these little tactics we're doing will help us too much. I'm still, part of the here and now. A lot of people, like Grizz the other day was telling me, Grizz Khan was like, you need more patience. You Chelsea fans have no patience. But it's not our fault. It's our history's fault. Like, we're used to a trophy at max every other season. This season is another season. And if it's going to be 2 seasons in a row with no trophy, that's the first time. I don't even remember. Like, I've been sports since 98. Even then, we were winning trophies. You know what I'm saying? So, is it the fan base's fault that we don't have patience? And a lot of people think Todd B is a clown. Or should we jump on the ship? Like, he is going to transform us. We are going to have all these little clubs giving us players. No more Cobbin youths, you know?
Do you know what I would say is this, right? I sort of feel like Grizz is right. Chelsea fans have got to develop more patience. The problem is for Chelsea fans is you've all been lied to for so long by certain journalists connected to your club, even by some of your content creators. Because Monstar, I tell you this, me and Monstar have had a lot of we disagree on some things. But we also, like, me, Monstar's probably been one of the only Chelsea fans who's consistently like called me out in a positive way, like praised me and said, "Oh, Terry called this." When I've spoken about, you know, if a young player comes into the Chelsea team and 12 months in isn't doing well, they buy to replace and they move that player on. Typically, it's changed a bit in the last 2 or 3 years, but typically up until when I was saying it, that was the nature of the beast. When you had a manager, no matter how good or bad he was, they'd have a little blip and they'd be sacked. Sometimes it was right to get rid of them. I'd look at Villas Boas, I think Big Phil as examples. Those are the right managers to get rid of. But then there are others where you look at it and think that the Roman has reacted too quickly. Roman has either fallen out with them himself and made a personal decision rather than thinking about the future of the club, and or like fan pressure has kicked in. But then every time we've done it, it's been spun to the fans. This is the right thing to do. This is how we operate. Look at the trophies that we've won. Of course it works. And as I've demonstrated to everybody, since all the other clubs got more money from the summer of 2013 onward, the amount of title races you've been in has shrunk. The amount of Premier Leagues you've won has shrunk. Yes, you won a Champions League, and there's no disrespect to that. I'd love to win a Champions League, but you didn't win that Champions League and then go straight back into being title contenders. You kind of won it against the run of play, if that makes sense. And
yeah, you stole it.
You kind of, listen, you deserved it. You were the best team in the tournament that year, but you won it with an element of new manager bounce. But then that new manager with this group then didn't create sustainability like Chelsea between 2004 and 2012 was so consistent. And that was because of this approach, but you had more money than anybody else. And like I've said for a long time, you've got that money still. Now what you need to do is create a more sustainable process and structure. You add those two things together, you're dangerous. Like Man City, dangerous. You add those two things. The reason City have maintained continuity is because as soon as if City were Chelsea under Roman, Pep would have got sacked when Liverpool won the league a couple of years ago. They'd have sacked him, gone, you've gone off the ball, now see you later, and moved him on. That's what Chelsea used to do, essentially. And that bit's wrong. So the way I'm looking at Chelsea is this. They've got to deliver against it. But the way you're looking, it worries me because you might start to do the one thing that used to give us all a saving grace from Chelsea completely dominating, and that was giving a manager and a system and a structure time for me. So it's scary for me. I stand by that 100%.
All right, I'll let you hold on to your judge, but don't be surprised if we win nothing this season. I'm not saying it's a write-off, but look forward to next season. We'll definitely be winning something in 2023, 2024.
Mate, it's look, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Chelsea do. I really am.
Right, you're a United fan.
No, I'm excited from a fan point of view, like just a football fan. I'm excited to see what they do because it is going to be different. It is going to be. There's just something so different about it now compared to before. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it kind of turns out. My friend, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. And I'll chat to you soon. Top man, cheers, bro. Thank you. Cool. We've got two people backstage. Gunner Down Under. That's who it is. I've just clicked on the name. Paz is here. What you saying, gents? How you doing?
How are you, my man?
I'm good. I put you both.
I'm Paz from Gunner Down Under. As you might have seen me come up on your super chats a couple of times. This is my mate Jez.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Good to have you both on the show. What are you saying, boys?
Good to be here, man. Just thought we'd give our bit of a say on Potters. What do you reckon? How do you think? What do you think Chelsea's approach is going to be for this season?
Do you know what? It's weird. I mean, I've predicted them coming fifth. and then people say, well, how can you be scared of a team that's going to come fifth? I'm talking more long term. They're going to be dangerous, but
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with what a gal said the other day. I think that you will see Graham Potter's style of football implemented fairly quickly, or you'll see them attempting to do it.
Yeah, I believe so too.
I
Yeah.
just don't know if they can get to Tottenham and Arsenal's levels this season. Like, because both those teams, both of you guys are looking really good in terms of getting the results. Spurs' football doesn't look good, but they're getting those Premier League results. So they're going to have to improve dramatically, but I think it will be close. But I think in the medium to long term, with everything they're trying to do at Chelsea, if they get the right sporting directors in, if they keep investing the money, and look, we have to look at Graham Potter's an unknown entity at this level, but if Graham Potter's as good as I believe he can be, they're going to be dangerous, boys. They're going to be really dangerous.
Yeah, I believe in it. I believe in that too. I think they're the new people at the helm in terms of Boehly and that. I think they are taking that long-term approach, whereas the previous regime for Chelsea, they've pretty much every year whenever they've fallen short, they've just thrown some money at it, and whichever manager hasn't met their standards, they've pretty much washed their hands of them straight away. So I think the new regime, they're kind of taking a look at what Arsenal are doing, what Liverpool did do. As you can see, Man City have been doing it. Pep didn't get things up and running overnight, either did Klopp. So I think now they see maybe what Arsenal are doing, and you can see they wouldn't be giving him a 5-year contract if they thought they were just going to bid him at the end of the season. You get what I mean? So
yeah, and I think what they've got to do at Chelsea, in the same way they've got they have Liverpool have this working brilliantly. Arsenal, the irony, and when I see Arsenal fans like scoffing at Chelsea, I think to myself, there's fear there. The reason I say that is this: one of the biggest things that Arteta had to do to get to a point where your team is now starting to win and look better, what he had to do was get rid of all the players who were insubordinate, players that didn't want to work.
correct. Yes.
Players that were essentially trying to push player power narratives and control the dressing room by, well, I'm on the most amount of money. I'm the star player. If we all stop working, you'll lose your job. Chelsea have got to get rid of that, because I think it's happened too often in the last 20 years where a very good manager has been thrown under the bus by his players. And I think if they stand by Potter and say, he's not going, we're standing by him, you're going to leave. And then all they've got to let Potter do is get rid of 1 or 2 players that are insubordinate and or drop them and give him complete control, and everybody else falls into line, because they're not
agree completely. Yeah.
So I look at it very much as there's a process needed here, but I think they've started.
I agree. I agree. Also, I think you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. The fact that they've given him that 5-year deal, right? If you see when Tuchel came aboard Chelsea, all the players that were there, none of them were his signings. So, in my opinion, yes, he had the players there. He had to try and get them playing the way he wants them to play, because obviously those signings were brought in according to the way Lampard wants to play. Now, what Potter did at Brighton, he had that time at Brighton to get a tune out of his players, to get them all playing the same way that he wants them to play, and he made his additions accordingly. Now, I think he's coming into Chelsea now the same way Tuchel came in, whereas he's been brought in with players that weren't brought there for him. Those players were brought in by Tuchel. So it's kind of like they've put Potter there. They've said, look, maybe see what you can do. Try get more of a tune out of these players, because Tuchel was failing to do that. And if not, we're going to give you the time to obviously overturn the squad. And like you said, get rid of a couple players, bring in a couple more players that might fit your system, similar to how you've got your team performing at Brighton. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I agree. I agree that there's so many unknowns here, but at the same time, I just think they're doing the right things. I think Todd Boehly's getting criticized because he's doing it in an unorthodox way. The way they kind of, in the summer, they spoke too early about a couple of transfers. They were telling journalists, yeah, this is agreed, that's agreed, it's going to happen. We've started our signing process protocols. He'll be a Chelsea player, and then 12 hours later, it's fallen through. I think he's learning, and when the Paul Mitchells or the Camposes or the Christoph Freunds are here, they won't make those mistakes. They'll be like, listen, let's wait until it's 100% signed and the ink's dried, then we say something. And once they just get those little tweaks, it will look like a calmer place. But I don't believe the general processes behind the scenes are any different to other clubs. We're just seeing Chelsea's in full flow. It's like, you ever seen like a see-through toaster? A see-through toaster or a see-through kettle boils water the same way as a normal kettle, but you just see it when it's see-through. So
you
when
just see what they want you to see on the outside, pretty much still PR.
Yeah,
PR side of things. So
what is it they say? Like if you I don't know the saying. Like if you stare at water, it never boils. There's a saying along the lines. That's a really bad way of saying it, but it's like stare at a pot, it never boils, or whatever else. And
I won't quote you on that one.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to get the saying now. Something pot doesn't boil. I'm going to get it. Hang on a second. I need to get it right now. Annoying me. What is it? No, that's not it. No, that's not it. No, I can't find it now. I've got to find
it. You're about to get me to start looking for it too in a minute.
This is so staring at a pot doesn't. I don't know what it's saying is now. Hang on a second. No, someone in the comments will know. Someone
maybe the sayings over there in the UK.
Maybe there's a saying that basically says if you watch water boil, it won't boil. It's like I don't quite know.
I think we got a bit off the point.
It literally died a death, that one. Absolutely.
I think we should. Can you edit it?
There we go. There you go. That's it. A watch pot never boils. That's it there.
Yeah.
A watch pot. And that's what I think happens with this situation. But there we go. Boys, I want to say thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us, man. It was a pleasure to finally meet you.
Same.
And all the best. I'll see you again on the streams anyway.
Lovely. Take care, mate. Thank you very much.
Care,
indeed. Thank you. Yeah, I got there in the end. A watch pot never boils. I knew there was a saying like that. And I think that's how Chelsea are right now. I think people are like, they're watching it so they can't see what's going on. But if you just take a step back and just write down the things they're doing and assess it, you think, shit, they're doing some good things. You just got to let it come together. You know, they're putting all the ingredients. We've got Quazim on the show next. Chelsea fan, I believe. What are you saying, my friend?
Hi, mate. You all right?
Yeah, long time no speak. What's your thoughts on Boehly's current approach?
I think it's the right one, bro. I mean, I've got my own channel, Terry, and first of all, thanks for having me. And I've been calling it for quite a while about Thomas Tuchel performance, man management, and I think I came to a conclusion a while ago. He's a club manager. I think that the Premier League to me, Terry, is a standard, right? Because you got in the Premier League as a competition, you have to be consistent week in, week out. And he came against the big boys, came from the French and the German league. The like of Klopp and Pep Guardiola, and they just rattled. It's a cup competition. Yeah, he did well in the FA Cup and the Champions League. And as you said, there was the brief Chelsea fan. This too. The one before that, I think is you're absolutely spot on when you said Chelsea lost 5, 6, 7 years. It's just they lost the way against City and Liverpool in particularly. And they won the Champions League. To me, it's a great trophy, Terry, but it's paper over the crack. But when you look at it logically, Chelsea away from City and Liverpool, that's 5, 6 years. So I think it's time for a change. I think the man management, the dressing room, I think the performance, it was heading the wrong way. So I think Todd Boehly, I don't like him as an owner because he decided to be a sporting director and take matters to his own hand. And instead just going in there and employing the right people after sacking Marina and Czech. But I think he did the right thing because but can I just say something, Terry? I think I predicted a while ago, and I think you know me for quite a while. I predicted Newcastle to finish top 4, and it just was a cheeky thing to say. But I thought City would win the league because I think City with Guardiola head and shoulder above everybody else. But I'm thinking right now, a month ago, after I was in Egypt on a holiday, and I was watching United versus Liverpool, and I said after 2-3 losses to United, I don't want United to win the game. And when they won the game since, Terry, I said, I'm really worried about United. The sign Anthony, Sancho there, Eriksen, Casemiro, Ten Hag, he's absolutely not free to drop Ronaldo. I'm really worried about Manchester United. I think the United can finish in top 4. And I think they're going to win the Europa League. I'm just making that claim right now. I'm really, really worried. And that Martinez, the guy signed from Ajax, I think is really solid as well. So now we're not just have to deal with Tottenham and Liverpool in top 4. Now United coming to the equation. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, Tuchel, I think Todd Boehly the right thing to sack Tuchel. That's what I want to say, bro.
There we go. Listen, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Top
Thank
man.
you. Thanks
we'll
for
speak
having me.
again soon. Thank you. And listen, everyone that's tuned in today, thank you. We're back later today with some more content for you. Match reaction to the Champions League this evening as well. We will have Ben Jacobs tomorrow morning, 11:30 on the show, taking us through Chelsea's current plans. We're also going to talk about the Jim Ratcliffe bid for Man United as well. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.